Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody asks you why, I'm here to ask why not. So sit back and relax or walk and listen and join me on this journey as we try to answer this never-ending question: what makes people say, why not? Hello guys, welcome back to Why Not. I hope you didn't miss me too much. So we are planning to take the bull by the horns this year, and let's get straight into it. But let's make sure that we're able to keep those goals going, and this is my advice for this one. So I hope you enjoy. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Why Not. So I hope everyone had a great Christmas and all that jazz, but moving swiftly on, we are into the first week of January. Now, I know what you're thinking here. It's technically the second week of January, but I'm calling it the first week of January because it is the first week the kids go back, which is normally when everyone's routines properly get back to normal, because even if you're in work last week, you probably have to deal with the kids a little bit more than usual. So this is the week where I find that everyone is like gung-ho, let's start, because I know you'll find an excuse with New Year's being on Monday to have to start the next Monday. And I know people are probably there prepping their, all the chocolate's gone because they scoffed it all on Sunday night, or it's been locked away in a bunker out the back or in the shed or something, and all you have is vegetables, and you're not going to eat carbs for the next while, and you're going to join the gym and do 17 sessions a week and drink loads of water and still have time to do your job normally and look after your kids and all of that other stuff. Okay, if you have planned 6 million different things, or maybe you're going to do all these but you actually haven't planned how you're going to do it, stop. We're going to pump the brakes for 1 second. And the reason being is this is the time of year when everyone is like, new year, new me. We have all these 6 million different things we want to change about our life, but a lot of the time we don't end up doing any of it because we try to do too much at once, or we decide we're going to do everything with no set plan and how you're going to do it, so you just think it'll happen, and that doesn't work, okay? Especially if you have no plan. But fear not, it's still possible, and we want to first off ignore there are vultures everywhere ready to try and get your money and sign you up for this extreme holiday makeover, not holiday makeover, but extreme makeover thing, or transformations. I'm sure they're still going on, or detox resets and all this bullshit that people sign up for, do and finish after 8 weeks and then binge, and then they come back and do it again because it worked. But at the end of the day, the thing is, if it worked, you wouldn't have had to go back. So let's look at how we can maybe make this a wee bit more sustainable, a wee bit more a lifestyle change about what we're going to do, as opposed to, because basically your health and fitness is not a 6 or 8 week thing. If you want it to stay that way, you're going to have to keep going long term, and the best way to do that is find a way that you can keep up long term. And let's look at how maybe we can do that now, okay? So first thing we want to look at is be realistic, okay? And that's not to say you can't do more, but look at your schedule. Sit down with your schedule and go, okay, I want to get healthy or whatever. When can I fit in what I want to do? Can I go to the gym for an hour where the kids start training? Can I go for a walk on my lunch break to actually get moving a little bit more? Like, where can I do this? Where can I work it into my day? There's no point saying you're going to do 6 million sessions a week, or even 5 sessions a week, when really you only have the time for 3, because you're just going to start getting down on yourself and annoyed. So firstly, whatever you think you can do, pull it back. Can you actually do that? Look at yourself, be honest with yourself, and it's okay if you can't do 5 sessions a week, or you can't make classes all that you want. That's your first thing. So sit down with your schedule, because you plan everything else. You plan your work, you plan your meeting, you plan your kids, you plan this. You will not be able to get your fitness in check or whatever way you want to do it without planning that too. So first off, sit down. Great, now we've blocked out those times. What do we need to do next? Well, first off, I would suggest finding something that you want to do, because again, if it's something that you're going just because you feel you need to or you have to, you won't keep it up long term. So is there a sport you can get involved with? Is there a local club you can be involved with? Maybe you can go to a gym with classes where you'll see the same people, or grab a friend, sign up to a kind of block of classes where you're going to find the same people. I always say this about my gym. I work in a small semi-private gym. We often, to the point, have the same people coming to the same classes every week. And that has become that some people, they've made friends in it. And, there's little WhatsApp groups have born out of it, of they've gone out, for lunch and nights out outside of the class. So I think it's really important if you could find something like that, because a lot of people who just go to the gym, if you're just going to go to the gym, do your program, do the same thing over and over, because I used to work in commercial gyms as well, and every January you'd give 10-20 people a program, and they never come and get the program updated, firstly, and secondly they just keep doing the same thing for about 4 weeks until they got bored and left. So that's why I think the classes are great, because for us, say our class is running a 6-week program, so you will do the same program for 6 weeks, but on top of that we're going to change it as soon as people start to get bored, but you get to see a bit of progression in your program. And as I said, on top of that, there is a really big social element to it, which I think people forget can be really important when it comes to going to the gym, because unless you're someone like me who enjoys training on your own and not talking to anyone, you kind of need that. You can need that people, you talk to each other, you catch up with each other's days. And as I said, there's actual friendships and WhatsApp groups have born out of our classes. So that is one thing that I really think is great. Like, find somewhere, or like a sport that you're interested in, or a friend that you can go walking with. Like, these things don't have to be intense killer classes that make you want to crawl out. It just means you're finding something to have a social element for it, and you can take more enjoyment out of it other than just going to, for instance, just to lose weight. So that one for me, I think, is a really big one. Next thing we're going to come on to is kind of our nutrition side of things. So this again can be something that can be really confusing and really hard to know where to go, because there's been low carb, low fat, apparently sugar's bad these days, there's intermittent fasting, there's so many different things, and it's hard to know what works for you, because first off, you have to remember that one, what works for you doesn't work for another person. So a lot of people will tell you the best diet ever or whatever because it works for them, but that mightn't work for you, mightn't work for your lifestyle. And another thing to remember as well is a lot of these studies that come pushing the likes of different, like whatever, intermittent fasting, low carb, all this stuff, have actually been done on men. So if you're a man, grand, fine, perfect. If you're a woman, one thing to bear in mind with a lot of these is to try and find any research specifically, or people talking about it specifically from a woman's point of view. The reason being is women are not just smaller men. Some of these diets can actually affect our hormonal system. It can lead to issues of cortisol and all these other things that I can't really get into because it'll get too scientific and I don't have enough of the backing. They will affect women more negatively than men. And it's not just that you'll be hungry and irritable, it can knock out of other things out of sync. So if you are thinking of turning a certain kind of diet style or eating way, just make sure you've checked that the tests and stuff have been done on women and the research you have come from women, which I know is very, very difficult. Another thing to remember is if anybody is telling you this is the be all and end all, this is the only way to do it, you will never get your results unless you do it this way. Stay clear of them, right? That's a massive red flag, because as I said, every person is different. It's even hard to do studies on people because everyone's different. The closest they can get is identical twins, but again, sometimes even their genetics are slightly different. Now, so there you go, you got red flags here from these people. What we want to see is, from this as well, you need a level of patience, okay? You are not going to change the habits that you've built for years overnight. You're not going to do it in 4 weeks, you're not going to do it in 6 weeks. You know, maybe you'll do it in 12 weeks, but it is a gradual thing. So firstly, you want to avoid those people who are telling you you have to eat a certain way. Now secondly, you want to implement things very, very slowly. Not very slowly, but like, you can't expect to completely overhaul your diet and start training several times a week and drink loads of water and all this all in the space of 1 week, okay? You need to give yourself time to adjust these things. So firstly, what do you want to add in 1 week? So 1 week, maybe we're going to start drinking more water and having 1 less chocolate bar a day or something. Next week, we're going to focus on adding more vegetables to our diet as opposed to cutting out crap, is what you hear a lot. Now week 3, maybe we can focus on eating a bit more protein. And basically, as you're adding these things on, you've already gotten used to doing one thing. Maybe it'll take you 2 weeks at a time to do it, but the thing about these is, yes, you won't have a drastic result like your man who showed his overnight transformation, but you're putting habits in place to keep it sustainable. Because one thing you do see a lot of these kind of, say, transformation type posts is you see, 6 weeks they're this much down, but where are they 6 months down the line? You never see anything like that. So I think it is always very important to find those people maybe who've maintained it. Look at, if you're looking for people like that who have maybe had a big weight loss journey or even a little weight loss journey, look at them and see what they did, because a lot of the time they will be a bit more, I suppose, sustainable because they've gotten to that point where they have actually maintained it. Look at the habits they've built. Maybe it's a case of starting to eat breakfast. Maybe breakfast doesn't work for you, but if breakfast doesn't work for you, do you have a snack that you can pack with you, you know, a high protein snack that you can have before lunchtime, so you're not starving come lunchtime or starving at the 11 o'clock break that you have to like stuff a load of biscuits into your mouth. If you are someone who kind of munches at night, what can you do to maybe not do that? Like, so is it a case of, are you bored? Do you need to maybe start reading or something, or get a little handheld game that you can play with, something on your phone while you're watching telly? Maybe even getting up and going for a walk, drinking a bit more water. Maybe you just need to drink more water. These are all options that you can look at and see what works for you. And sometimes as well, this is going to be really hard, and nobody wants to do it, but sitting down and figuring out, like, you really should do this, because this is really the big one for kind of helping you stay on the track that you want to be on, is like, why do you want to do this, firstly? And the easy answer is, you want to lose weight. Great. Why do you want to do it? Is it like, you need to find out, do you want to do this for you? Do you just want to do it because it's January and everyone else does? Do you just want to say you want to do it? Because you'll get a lot of people who will say they want to do it and give out that they're not getting the results they want. But if they're being honest, they don't really want to. It's not a priority, which is fine. It can not be a priority for you. Like, you know, you have to understand that it's all right for it not to be a priority, but you have to be honest with yourself. If it's not a priority, you're never going to get where you want to be, and you're just doing this little dance and a show so you can complain that it'll never work for you. And the reason is, often, unless there's some medical issues, often that you actually never really wanted to. You're just doing it for show, and if it doesn't work, you can blame it on something. So first off, just be honest with yourself. Sit down with yourself. Why do you want to do it? Why do you want to change? Is there a deeper reason other than, I want to be skinny? Because that won't get you very far. Then after that, what can you do now to change those habits? Or is there something that, like comfort eating, or is there a reason you find that you're eating late at night, or maybe secret eating, or all these different things? You know, this is a little bit past my pay grade, but it is worth looking into, seeing where these issues stem from or where they come from, and maybe there's a deeper thought needed. Maybe you need to go further than just yourself. Maybe you're able to work it out with yourself, and then you can take control and finally get the results you want. And one of the biggest ones I think here that we have to remember is you need to stop relying on motivation, because that's what too many people do. It's January now, woohoo, motivation, everyone's motivated, everyone can't wait to take the bull by the horns and all that jazz. But at the end of the day, motivation will only get you so far, and that's why you see the motivated people disappear very quickly. The people who continue on it, they make it a part of their life, they make it discipline. It's completely different. They plan it into their week, they schedule what they're going to do, right? They don't just go, oh, maybe I'll do it. So that's schedule. They do it when they don't want to do it. That's something I have to do quite a bit. I don't quite enjoy running, but I do it when I don't, because when I don't want to do it, because it helps me, and it helps me improve my cardio, and I'm not horse riding at the moment, so I do running instead. And one of the ways I do that often is by getting the train over to work in the evening and running home, because yes, I can get the train back, but if I run, I get my running. And 99% of the time that works. There's the odd time when I'm not up for running, but it's something that you have to do even when you don't want to. A lot of the time I don't want to do it, but it's really not that bad. And that's discipline. I have a goal in mind. I'm going to try and run another half marathon this year, and I need to keep running in order to do that. And that's another really good way of keeping yourself on track, is setting yourself little goals. So is it that you want to lift a certain weight? Is it that you maybe want to drop a dress size? Is it that you want to run a certain distance? These are all great little things, but like sometimes if we can't see the actual end goal, it can be hard to keep going. So if you, for instance, think that big goal is too much, break it down. Small little goals, and you know what, you can reward yourself for those small little goals. Like maybe your goal for every month you have dropped a little bit, or for instance you run an extra few kilometers, or these kind of things, right? What could you do? What are you going to treat yourself for? Maybe buy yourself that makeup you wanted, or maybe your end goal is get to a certain size and you're going to buy yourself a dress when you get it. Don't do it beforehand, because a motivator, it's not great to motivate yourself. Do it when you reach that. But in the meantime, doesn't mean you can't treat yourself to makeup. Maybe get yourself a nice fancy lunch somewhere, because you have to be able to enjoy these things as well when you're on a weight loss journey. It's not all misery and chicken and broccoli. That's another thing that I do want to say, going back to that you have to eat a certain way. You can still enjoy things. You have to be able to enjoy these to, stop, or not stop, but prevent any binges. But yeah, like treat yourself to little things when you reach those little milestones, and it'll, like I say, motivate, but it'll, okay, great, you feel good about yourself. It creates that positive reinforcement, so you want to keep going each time, as opposed to when you get tired, when you don't see anything, you don't feel great, you look in the mirror like, why am I bothering? But you're like, well, if you keep going for another week, you're going to get another treat. I don't know what you want to buy. Maybe you want to buy a sports jersey, maybe you want to buy boots, maybe you want to buy new runners, maybe you want to buy, as I said, new clothes, new makeup, anything like that are totally worth it as little prompts to keep you going. And another benefit of not going mad so quickly is you're not going to burn out, okay? And look, it's a busy time of the year as it is. It's a hard time of the year. It's still dark and dreary, and everything's back, work's back. So this is the time where you want to be able to ease yourself in. You don't want to give yourself an injury. You don't want to burn out mentally. You don't want to burn out physically. You want to enjoy, this is time for you. This is not, if you have a family or something, this is time. It's not dedicated. The kids aren't coming at you. Your other half isn't asking you questions. The dog or cat isn't barking or meowing at you. Guinea pigs, in my case, aren't meeping at you. So it's time for you and time for you to enjoy and make that time for yourself, but don't make it become a chore. Yes, in all senses, there'll be days where you don't want to do it, and that's okay too, but you don't want to be like constantly dreading it. So this is why we don't want to overdo these things. We want to keep that enjoyment level in. Some days you won't want to go, then you'll see your mates and you'll have a great crack and you'll get a workout in and you'll feel great after. The thing about training, no matter what you're doing, is you will always feel great after it. No one ever regrets it. So try and ignore that little voice telling you, no, just leave it today, don't bother, there's no point, and just go and enjoy yourself. But that's only possible if you make sure that you are pacing yourself and not overdoing it so that you burn out. It's really, really important to not overdo it. Sorry, I just keep having to say this because I see so many people every year. The gym is packed in January and they want to go as much as possible, and they go loads for a month and then they're gone, and then they come back and then they're gone. And then these are the type of people who hate, I say, like, you know, I hate the gym, it's really boring, blah blah blah. There is a way around that, and that is all the ways I've said before. And there is people who will always hate the gym, and that's okay too. But if you are that kind of person, find something else for movement and time for you. You know, it could be yoga, could be dances class, could be sports, you know, could be walking with your friend and bitching about the world. Any of these things is absolutely perfect. But the main thing about it is making that time for you. It's making that promise to yourself that you are not going to break, and you are going to do it for you because you know you're better for it, and you're not beholden to anyone by doing it. And it's, yeah, as I said, it's just so important. And do not neglect yourself when it comes to these kind of things. So this did kind of talk about, start off as a gym chat, but now it's turned into make sure you look after yourself, because in whatever way you need to, because if you don't, you will end up burning out somehow, physically, mentally. You know, it's just, I'm talking from experience here. Try and catch it before it gets too deep and you're too far gone, and you will be able to take on the world. So that got a weird turn at the end, but with that, I think I'm going to leave you guys. If you want to find me, you will find me on Instagram, most active on @strongthesaddle_, and my other Instagram is Chrissy H Fitness. I'm not on that very often. You will also find me on TikTok with @strongthesaddle, and my website, if you are looking to find out more about working with me, is www.chrissyhawkins.com. I hope you found this interesting. I hope this helps you set yourself up for success this year. I really do appreciate everybody who listens to this podcast. So if you please could help me with the algorithm and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And even, you know, if you want to reach out and suggest topics for me, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Drop me a DM on Instagram or TikTok. And thanks again for listening.